there, do you have a PeerTube instance that's using a little bit more storage data than you'd like? Well, you're in the right place. Today I'm going to show you how to configure your PeerTube instance so that it's not a disk space hog, so that you can get more bang for your buck out of your storage, upload and share more videos, and maybe even get better performance for the ones you have uploaded. So here's the Consultatron instance, and we've got one video, the product demo video, but let's upload another video so that you can see what happens when a video gets put into a PeerTube instance on FediHost. So if we go to upload a video, going to make it public. We'll select the file to upload, and we're just getting Consultatron inside, a video of Consultatron arriving in a room. So Consultatron arriving, here we go. And it's just like, wow, surprise, whoa, ready for learning, learning to be ready. There we go. And a description, they were amazed. Category, setting the basic variables, and we're going to set to publish after transcoding, and we'll hit publish there. So the video is being currently transcoded. And if we go over to the runners section and look at the runner jobs and filter by pending jobs, we can see here is a whole bunch of transcoding jobs. Now, FediHost is quite a bit different to most other hosting providers in that we have a dedicated transcoding server, but this is a low-spec instance that only has one spot in the transcoding queue at any given time. So these are all the different jobs, and you can see we're generating a 480, a 360, a 240, a 144. Here's a HD version. And if we have a look at the jobs that are actually in the state of processing, we can see job queues kind of being worked through. You know, if I hit refresh, because these are very small videos, it's quickly kind of working through all the different versions of this video. Now, the reason that this is happening is because if you're familiar with something like YouTube, you know, like you're watching a video sometimes, or at least back in the old days, or if you're on a bad internet connection, and it would kind of turn all pixelated and grainy. PeerTube is making lots of different resolutions of videos at the same time so that it can serve the correct resolution for the speed of internet connection that someone has. Or they may have chosen from the preferences option when they went to play the video that they want to see the video at a lower or a higher resolution. You know, they may be like, oh, I'm putting this on a pretty low quality projector, so I'll set it to this lower quality resolution setting because I wouldn't be able to see the difference anyway. Or they might be like, oh, I'm going to screen this for a group of friends on my really nice monitor, and I want to make sure that even though my internet connection is low, I'm going to force it to be the highest resolution so that we get the best viewing experience. And you can see that if you click over here on the video, we've got now all these different qualities that we can choose from. And you can see if we choose this quality, it's very blurry, right up to the full HD version, which is the maximum quality. It's kind of funny, this video is really old, so it's actually not going to be a 4K video, but you can see here is the arrival of Consultatron in the room to consult these civilians. So the issue is, do we really need all these different resolutions? And the answer is no, we don't. Just because you can have every resolution under the sun doesn't mean that it makes sense. If you had infinite storage, infinite bandwidth, sure, why not keep a copy of every single tiny increment of resolution? The problem is that this drastically increases the amount of storage that your instance is going to use, having all of these transcode resolutions ticked on. On top of that, on this particular instance, we also have both web videos and HLS video support set up with a very high frame rate, which in this case wouldn't be triggered because the original video is a much lower frame rate, but it could be if someone uploaded a high frame rate video, it would then go and transcode all 120 frames per second of that video. So you can see the issue if we go over to Overview and Videos and expand it here. Look at all these different videos, right? And see the amount of space that they take up. Having web videos and HLS basically doubles the size of the videos. And then having a 4K video, you know, a HD video, it all really starts to add up. And the thing to keep in mind with higher resolution videos is that it's not a linear increase in size. A 4K video is about 4 times larger than an HD video. Even though 2160 is only twice what 1080 is, it is actually 4 times larger in terms of the pixel count. So it kind of exponentially grows. So just zooming out a little bit, we can see that it uses 178.3 megabytes to store this pretty short 37-second video. So let's see what changes we can do to reduce the size of a video like this from 178 megabytes. So over here, in settings, VOD transcoding, we have the preferences that have created such a ridiculously large number of resolutions. I'm just demonstrating here how bad, I guess, things can be as far as configuring this page. So let's first start with the most obvious thing to turn off, and that is the encoding web videos. Web videos, from what I can tell, are a kind of deprecated format for PeerTube. You don't need both, and the platform is moving across to just using HLS, as they say there. It's recommended. And from what I can tell, taking out web videos doesn't seem to have caused any problems with the playback of videos on the instances that I've been managing. So the frames per second, I would suggest knocking this down, honestly, to 30 frames per second, unless there was some specific reason, like if you have a hummingbird wing flapping videos or nature videos, maybe you want 60 frames per second, maybe gamer videos. I find that frames per second are a bit of a kind of newbie thing to think that 120 is better than 60 is better than 30. I think 30 is totally fine. Who knows? Maybe people on your instance want that. But unless there's a good reason, I would probably keep it to 30 because, yeah, users coming along, uploading videos, they might have misconfigured their export settings. They might think that 60 frames per second is the right number, even though they are just uploading tutorial videos. So this is kind of letting you put a hard ceiling on that to make sure it doesn't get too large. Resolutions to generate. Now, audio only is pretty tempting to use because it's got this option here. It lets you split the audio and video so you don't have to have audio encoded in every single video version. And theoretically, that would allow you to save space. However, I found a few glitches with this where it didn't quite work right. And so I personally keep this turned off. Then as far as the resolutions go, I think the bare minimum is a lower resolution version and a higher resolution version. Now, choosing what the low end of a lower resolution should be is kind of up to you and your own preferences. To me, once you get 360, 240, it starts to look really bad and you don't really want users to go much lower. 720 is where, for most people, it's probably okay and they wouldn't notice. Then once you get above 1080 looks pretty good in most use cases on most consumer grade screens and electronics. Unless someone's fussy, they're not going to pick up on much there. For me, I typically use one of these settings. I either use 1080 or I use 4K, Ultra HD, 2160. This is kind of case by case. For me, I actually do record and edit and export mostly in 4K. And when I'm putting stuff on PeerTube, I kind of do want it to be archival quality. I want it to be permanent and at a high quality because, it's kind of my permanent version of something on my own video hosting. So yeah, I usually do keep on the Ultra HD setting and one lower setting like 480, just in case someone's viewing it on a lower quality internet connection. So let's update the configuration there, jump over to publish and upload our video again and see how much we've saved. So here's Consultatron inside, publish after transcoding, gonna hit publish. It's saying failed to play right now because it's being transcoded. And I think that the MKV format that I'm used does not have a streamable container. I have an enabled streaming container on it, so it won't just play immediately. Otherwise, it tries to play, but the pre-transcoded version while it's doing that. And we jump over to the runners and have a look at the runner jobs. We can see here it's quickly getting through them, and this is one other advantage. Having less resolutions to encode will rapidly increase the speed that videos publish on your instance. And yeah, videos are normally a lot longer than 37 seconds. They do take several hours often to encode at all the different resolutions. So having just one or two is nice, means that you will be up and running in a much shorter amount of time. So we jump over to overview videos. We can see our updated video is there. And the difference is quite large. One is 45 megabytes, the other is 178. And if we open this up, we can have a look inside and see why. This one's got both web videos and HLS videos at all these different resolutions and sizes. This just has HLS. And yeah, huge saving in size. And this is totally good enough, you know. Now you might decide as a PeerTube instance, we're just going to do 1080. That's it. And that's okay too. The way that PeerTube works, if I have a look here and I play, and you right click and click on Stats for Nerds, so you can see here's the amount that I have downloaded and the network activity as it plays this video. So you'll notice over here, you have this total transferred, and you've got 17 megabytes down. But you'll notice over here, you have 0 from peers, and you have these upload arrows. And that's because the other peer thing about PeerTube is that it has a peer-to-peer protocol that lets you share the burden of playing videos with other PeerTube users, kind of browser to browser. So as you download chunks of a video, you can also upload a little bit to other viewers of that video and kind of spread out the burden of playing a video. And it's pretty cool because it kind of is what lets PeerTube scale in a way. If you're running a PeerTube instance on your average VPS and you have a viral video that takes off, it's going to cause problems. The bandwidth that a video uses is crazy. It's a lot of data. Having this kind of peer-to-peer mechanism means that the more popular a video gets, the more other users will be sharing the burden of playing the video. But the interesting thing is you're having to marry the user with another video at the same resolution. See if this makes sense. I am playing this original Consultatron arriving at this resolution, and I can upload and share the video with other users who are playing this resolution. Same for 4K. I can't share with the people who want to play this resolution, but I can share with the other people who want Ultra HD. So the problem is when you have this many resolutions, that peer-to-peer mechanism just doesn't work as well. You're dividing the number of people that are simultaneously playing the video at that particular resolution. So instead, if you have a video like this, which has a lower number of resolutions, your chances of being paired up with someone else playing this resolution increase quite a lot. So let's load this over into a, say, Firefox here. So here I am playing it on Firefox, and you can see that it's actually transferred this to the other browser window that I have open. And you can see it's found a peer here. This is peer in French. You know what? We're based in Montreal. Deal with it. Anyway, sorry, unnecessarily aggressive. Very proudly Quebecois. So that's how it works. And it's interesting. Yeah, it's even on this much lower resolution, it's immediately kind of picked up that. And if I go over, if I pause this here and I go and open this in the Safari window, you can see here that I transferred some of this back. Now, if I switch this over to 2160, I mean, we might even download back the other direction. Let's see if that works. Oh, you know what I could do? I'm going to open it in this my iPad over here. Oh boy, look at this. You can see here 18 megabytes of this came from peers. Pretty cool. This one here, this is a Firefox instance. It's uploaded 19 megabytes from Firefox over to this Chrome instance, I'm guessing. So, you know, it's pretty cool. And you drastically increase the chances of this feature being used if you have a lower number of resolutions. So there's a higher chance of the serendipity of two people playing the video at the same time and making use of that feature. And I remember back in the day, the common belief around YouTube and Google was that, well, you can't really replace YouTube because video files are so expensive to host, and you'd need to be making a lot of money in advertising to cover the cost. And I think this peer-to-peer thing that's going on with PeerTube is kind of its secret sauce. If a video becomes extremely popular, it's not going to be anywhere near as big a challenge for the host as if it was served on a traditional video hosting infrastructure. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're choosing the number of resolutions. It's kind of a factor on the Fediverse that we didn't have back when we were choosing video resolutions and they were just simply hosted on YouTube or Vimeo or something like that, where it was someone else's problem to deal with serving the video. So what if you've got videos, you've already uploaded them, and you've realized just now, I think I have too many resolutions? Well, that's not a problem. You can jump over to Overview, Videos, open up the little arrow here and remove the videos that you decide you don't want. One hand on the return key, the other clicking away, you can go through and pretty quickly remove all of the web videos here, and I can go and trim down the sizes here. I can even get it to exactly match the other one. I have one time spent an entire evening going through deleting videos after having the wrong encoding settings. So if you end up going through something like that, I'm right there with you. One issue that you will encounter is this rate limiting thing. So you can only go at a certain speed. Can be kind of tedious, kind of annoying, but I did like a 400 gigabyte instance. It took me like, I don't know, an hour and a half or something like that to trim all the excess off. And then, I had everything in the right space going forward. And I'm just deleting the new one. So now I've just got the original old one set up with the 2 resolutions that I want. All that will save you a ton of space. Some of the other things that can use up storage, check your redundancy settings. If you go to Federation and click Video Redundancies, you can sometimes find you may have accidentally set up to mirror an instance, which you get by clicking on the button here where it says redundancies allowed. What happens in that case is when the instance here publishes videos, your instance creates a backup of that video and helps to kind of serve it to share the burden across the Fediverse. If you've accidentally checked that, you'll end up with lots and lots of redundant videos in here, videos that are a copy of something that's hosted somewhere else. So that's another thing to check. Make sure this is unchecked if you're using too much storage, and make sure that you don't have tons of copies of videos in here from other instances if that's not what you intended to do. Another thing that can be a problem is user uploads. So if you're on a busy instance and there's lots of users uploading videos, have a look under the Configuration Basic tab, and you'll see new users here. Like, I assume that in that case you have users signed up, and then have a look at the quota. So you might want to set a quota per user or per day. So maybe a user by default, just if you're a brand new user, maybe you give them 100 megabytes to play with, and you set the daily upload at say 50, and you create a separate user group to give users a higher amount of data than that. So you could set this at 100, see what people upload. If they're uploading stuff that you think is good, then you can, on a case by case, go over to the users, like here, edit the user and change their quota. So let's pretend that this user is set at 100. You can go, okay, I'll move you up to unlimited, because, just such high quality content coming out of the Consultatron video department. So that's another thing that you want to check. If you're a larger instance, make sure you make good use of quotas. I would say that by default, you should never have brand new users signing up without having some sort of a limit on their video usage, their video quota. I actually was the kind of bad user on another instance. I started out on PeerTube using urbanists.social because I was used to YouTube, where you upload these massive, like 20 gigabyte files because it's not your problem to sort out re-encoding them. I would put these massive 20 gigabyte files onto urbanist.social, and I'm sure that was a huge burden for the instance, having to re-encode those videos and serve them. The original file that you upload does eventually get deleted by PeerTube, but you still have to carry it in the meantime, and 20 gigs is 20 gigs. You can't have all your users behaving like that. And re-encoding a 20 gigabyte 4K file into the different formats, that's really heavy on your server too. You're also having to transfer it. With FediHost, the place where the video is stored before it gets transcoded is different to the place that it's stored when it's in storage. And so by saying to users, okay, you get 2 gigabytes per day, you're kind of making them deal with the fact that they have probably exported their video at too high a setting. So yeah, I'd say when users are signing up, give them a much lower quota, and then just kind of write out in the information section, you can write your terms or your code of conduct and say users start off with 100 megabytes total video storage and must request a larger quota via email. Something like that. One other issue that you can encounter is certain types of videos that are just really, really massive. So I can show you this by jumping over to Canadian Civil. So Canadian Civil is an instance that professional YouTubers upload videos to. And professional YouTubers, I guess being power users, do have some kind of unusual data usage requirements. So if I go to the video section, you'll find this useful actually when you're trying to figure out what your problem is with regards to storage. If you click on Files, you can sort by largest to smallest file. So this is a full documentary that I made a couple of years ago, and I have it here unlisted and I share it with people in private. But you can see some of these files, like these are podcast episodes, they're really, really large. These are like 4 GB files encoded at these different resolutions. But the thing that I found often clogs up your PeerTube is live streams. Live streams can be streamed at 4K for hours and hours, right? So if you have a instance that is scraping YouTube channels and they finish their live stream and log off, and then the live stream goes into an archive on YouTube, then PeerTube can come along and scrape it. Some people set up PeerTube to clone a YouTube channel. What I found is that several of the multiple hour live streams that were on like Reese Martin's channel were in here. So there was like, I don't know, 35 gigabyte video files. And I just made the call, I don't think this is something that we want to host in perpetuity. They're just too large. So I just went through and found the live streams by using this file sort and deleted it. You can also use this filter here to kind of isolate problem videos. So one feature that I used was looking for videos that have web videos attached. There aren't any now because I removed them all, but I did initially have the web videos box ticked on, and I went through and found all the ones with web videos and went and cleared them out. So that's kind of useful. You also might find it useful to find if there's any remote videos on here that you're actually storing any data on. So that's useful too. And then if you have a look at your users, you can kind of see if there's any users that have kind of a particularly large footprint and maybe need their quota adjusted. But I think that about covers all of the data usage techniques that I've deployed over the years to keep the PeerTube instance from getting too large. So I hope that something there helps you save on your hosting bill. And, by saving on your hosting bill makes it more realistic for you to keep using PeerTube, keep sharing your videos, and, keep the internet open and free. Thanks for watching. See you next time.